What is that?
Veggie kale salad.
I often have teenagers in my car. I drive them to and from youth group events and meals. And they often have conversations on trips, and sometimes I overhear the all too familiar laments. I hear them say, "I wish my week had an extra day. Life is so busy. I wish I could spend my whole day doing nothing." Wouldn't it be great if the week had an extra day? A day when no one could schedule me for anything, or tell me what to do or where to be. I could just read, or sleep, or think without any pressure. I know these teens well enough to know their schedules. While it is honorable in some way, as a preparation for the reality of life we all seem to lead, it's a draining pace, and it's all too familiar. Long days in a highly competitive middle or high school culture, followed without a break by afternoons of cross-country, volleyball, marching band, 4-H meetings, and lessons that now respect no season of the year. On some days, they participate in more than one activity before coming home to a late dinner and homework. Weekends often include traveling sports competitions, church services, and family chores. They live schedules that could easily derail a 30 or 40-year-old, but these quiet little laments are uttered by 12 and 13-year-olds. They have barely begun to taste the richness of life's wonders. In fact, the busyness of life seems to have already crowded out the pure joy of an afternoon of daydreaming or reading and a full night's rest. Simple pleasures already seem less essential for the wholeness of childhood. Pleasures that help us appreciate the rest.
Seems like God would not be in the business of helping us take it easy. Wouldn't it make more sense for God to command us to work harder, to do more to help people in need? Spend extra time defending the weak, feeding the hungry, building a more just society. We know God wants this stuff done, so why He didn't make a commandment that says, if you get done doing your work, and if you have any time left over, make sure you spend it working for the most important causes.
Hi-ho, 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 it's home from work we go. Hi-ho, 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 it's home from work we go.
Instead of any of that, God says this: remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. You'll get your work done in 6 days, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. You won't do any work that day, and neither will your spouse, your kids, your servant, the guests in your house, or even your animals. All this because God made heaven and earth in 6 days and rested on the seventh. So God made that day holy. So God says we need to have rest. We have to stop doing all the stuff we need to do. Not a suggestion, not a polite ask, a commandment. 10% of the 10 Commandments. Okay then. When was the last time you got a really good night's sleep? Or felt truly, awesomely at peace? Can you remember when you took a vacation and eased back into work, energized yet relaxed, ready to take on the world? I hope you can. It's a great feeling. Rest does something incredible to our minds, bodies, and spirits. Rest puts aside our trouble and brings the good things of life right up to our faces. Rest turns off intentionality, turns off the idea that the world turns somehow because you and I are laboring behind a great lever somewhere. The world keeps turning without you and I and our effort. Our bodies heal when we rest. Our brains firm up and improve. And when we let them free, our minds expand, focusing on things that seem unimportant now, but later they may turn out to be the inspiration for something truly great. God understands this. God designed this. This is the way we're supposed to be. Rest isn't a tragic consequence of our fall from grace. It's not something we should want to do away with. Rest is for the very best of us, to make us the best that we can be. But God knows that we don't always look out for our own best interests. God knows so often we mix up ourselves with the idea that we could make another's day's wage and just get a little further ahead. We could grade a few more papers, have a jump on the week. We could assign a few more employees to a shift and make our quarterly projections if we could just squeeze one more day into the week. God is wise to our act. We think we can hack our schedules, hack our bodies, hack our minds, hack our lives. We think we can tap into some technique hidden from nature that helps us overclock our processors, gain some advantage over everyone else. But God knows better. God knows the moral law just doesn't say treat everyone right. It doesn't just say do the best you can with the time you have. No, there's one commandment about time, and this is what it says. Even when He was creating the universe, God rested. It is in the structure of nature itself. It's in the DNA of every living thing to need to rest. So it's not optional for you to rest. It isn't negotiable. As Christians, we find the time to rest together. We find the time to come together in a place where we can rest and rejoice, and we can call that place the church. We keep Sabbath holy by remembering God's rest from the work of creation. And when we rest, we tap into that strange, wonderful heart of God. Maybe it's only in resting that we can really understand just how majestic, just how incredible our God truly is.
Hi-ho,